there's no tomorrow. Show me tomorrow. Where's it at? Point at it. Oh, got it. It's a word that represents something that does not exist. You don't have tomorrow. You have right now. That's all you have. So what are you going to do right now? Stop worrying about like someday and when things align. No, just win today. And before you know it, you're going to start stacking those, and you're going to start seeing success.
Kip, what's up, man? Great to see you after the weekend. How was the weekend for you? Do anything good? Training mostly, probably?
I did do some training and then couldn't walk for a day or two. Ended up with a cold, man. So I was like kind of down and out.
Bummer.
But dude, I feel great today. You know how, does that ever happen to you? Like you feel sick, you sleep a lot, you lay around, and then when it's over, I'm going on all cylinders. So it's almost like my cold served as a reboot for me. I feel great.
Yeah, I think you do. I think guys need a reset. I mean, I feel good all the time, so I never have to worry about getting better after. That's not true. I have bad days for sure. Yeah, I think a reset is good. I think there's a fine line though too between sitting around, lounging around, getting comfortable with just being a fat slob on the couch, and then just deliberately, intentionally taking some rest. But also what I've noticed, and I know this about you too, because we've talked about it, vacation mode. I think a lot of men, I don't know what percentage, but I'd bet it's a hefty percentage of men have a really hard time even on vacation after 3 days, maybe, I think is kind of the sweet spot, 3 or 4 days. And after that, it's like, okay, I got to go be productive. I've got to go do something. I've got to get after enough lounging around on the beach, enough with the restaurants. Let's go do. I actually think it's a testament to the deeper, broader significance that men need purpose. And if that doesn't illustrate why we don't like sitting on the beach sipping Mai Tais, I don't know what else does.
Yeah, totally. And in those cases, that day of being back in the saddle or that day of being productive is an awesome day. And most guys feel great. So yeah, just a testament of what it means to be a man.
I think it's the key factor though, like with what you're saying about feeling a little under the weather or having a bad day or getting back from a trip, is the level of intentionality you approach the next day with.
Yeah.
Because I've also had situations where I've come back from a vacation with no intentionality about what I'm going to do when I get back, and I just want to go back on vacation. So
yeah,
you need to make sure there's a lot of intentionality behind it as well.
Yeah, totally. I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, man, we got a handful of questions. You ready to just dive into these bad boys? We do have. Oh yeah. Well, I was going to call out the preview call for the Iron Council, but we'll weave that in. Well, I might as well say it now. Next Wednesday at, what was the time? 8 p.m. Eastern?
No, it's actually
Isn't it next week?
This Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, perfect.
That's right. Yeah. So March 18th. So today, as of the release of this podcast, it's tonight. So it's at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you go to theironcouncil.com/preview, you can get access to our preview call.
Yeah. And really that's us kind of pulling back the curtains a little bit, answering questions and talking about what is it like being in the Iron Council. So if you've been kind of like, what is this elusive brotherhood? That calls for you. Mm-hmm. That calls for you. All right, let's hop into it. Right. Travis Neville, what belief about manhood did you have when you were 5 to 10 years old that you now know was completely wrong?
Oh, I misread that question. When I was 5 to 10?
Oh, I know. I literally just read it wrong.
You misread it.
Oh, okay. I misread it 5 to 10 years ago. So, geez.
Got it. That's
we're old. Let's do the math. 5 to 10 years. All right. Yeah. So where were
35 to 40 years old.
Okay.
For me. So
got it.
Man, what would I say? Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind. Number one, men cannot do this thing we call life alone. When you're younger and you haven't got kicked in the balls enough, it seems like you can just muscle through and power through anything. And as you're younger, I think in a lot of ways you can, because you're so hopped up on life and you're excited about life and you're optimistic. And then you just face the realities, the inevitable realities of what we as men are called to bear. And unless I had developed, even just over the past 10 years of doing this movement, developed a good, strong, healthy, accountable band of men, I would have got through it still.
Yeah.
But it would have taken me a whole lot longer. I don't think I would have learned lessons as efficiently and as quickly. I don't think I'd be in the position that I am right now with my satisfaction and growth and success in life. And my mental state would be greatly diminished if I didn't have good quality men like you and others in my corner. So that is one thing. The other thing that comes to mind for me is, and we talked about this on the podcast last week, is there's this, I don't want to say hidden side of masculinity, but typically when somebody thinks about what is manliness or what is masculinity or what does it mean to be a man, it's a very tangible thing. Well, it's somebody who's strong. It's somebody who provides a financial lifestyle for his family. It's somebody who can lead well, who can orate, who can communicate effectively, who can build businesses and empires. And he's involved with his team, his kids' team sports. And it's very tangible. It's very recognizable. But I also think there's a lot that goes on, and this is something that's developing for me over the past 5 to 10 years, that's going on under the surface that's hard to see. It's like, is this a good and decent human being? Is this somebody who has the desire to serve people? Is this somebody who has a principled approach to life? What are they going to do when nobody is looking? What do they do in their free time when they're by themselves? If they see somebody struggling and nobody would ever see them trying to do something better, would they actually do it? How do they feel about themselves? Are they downtrodden and beat up and lost confidence, or are they developing and building new skills and quietly improving their lives so that they can go out and serve themselves and other people more effectively? It's this elusive, non-tangible that I think I have overlooked personally and in the business, frankly. And I think a lot of these other men's movements have missed out on as well. I mean, even us, Kip, we talk about go to the gym, go train jujitsu, learn how to shoot a gun, learn how to build a business, learn how to deal with your finances. And there's nothing wrong with that. But unless we get that deeper, intangible stuff figured out, I think the other stuff matters less, or at least it'll have less of an impact.
Like the inner work, if you want to use that term, like dealing with self.
It's a great way to say
it.
Right.
Yeah. I
see that. I can't tell you how many guys we talk with that are, they just, like, no confidence, no surety of themselves. They've got trauma from when they were young, and that's impacting them deeply. And it's painful to watch what these guys are going through.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes those actions help address it, but sometimes those actions end up becoming the tool to hide it, right? And not address it.
Again, it's about intentionality. So if I tell you to go to the gym, you could go to the gym and you could get a sweat. But unless you really focus on why you're doing it and what you hope to accomplish and what muscle groups you want to work, your results are going to be abysmal.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. One thing that comes to mind regarding Travis's question, 5 to 10 years, if I go to 10 years, the biggest thing, I guess it's around manhood, but there's a dynamic of relationships here with the feminine. But it was a major shift for me about 10 years ago. And it was, I used to believe that as parents, we needed to parent the same. And if we weren't parenting the same, then we're misaligned. And it was this constant battle with my wife and I around how we should be parenting. And the breakthrough that I had was, we're not going to parent the same, and nor should we. And what I bring to the table as a man from the masculine perspective is exactly what my kids need. And what they also need is a feminine mom that's nurturing and extra loving, and stop beating each other up for not being on exactly the same page, but celebrating our differences in regards to how we treat our children. Now, both of us there's elements of keeping it in check, right? On both of our sides, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I never celebrated the difference. And I used to think we had to be on the same page. And if we weren't on the same page, then something was wrong. And that's probably the biggest breakthrough for me about 10 years ago.
I think that's well said. I think it's, especially when you see the woman in your life, your wife, your children's mother, where maybe she's coddling them too much. You can respect what she's trying to do and still offer some insight into, be empathetic to the way she might be feeling, but offer some insight into, hey, that might have been 10% too much, right? Like, let him figure it out, right? Or conversely, you should be able to allow your wife to come to you and say, hey, you know what? Like, I know you want our kids to be disciplined, but you took it a little too far.
You're coming too hard.
And it undermined what you were trying to do. So maybe dial it back a notch or two. And you should be humble enough to say, oh, you know what? Yeah. Now, if she's like, hey, don't get after the kids at all, that's a problem. Or if you let her just run roughshod over the empathetic side of things to raise the kids, then that's also a problem. So yeah, I think, and also celebrating that in front of the kids too, right? Is, hey guys, look, like, your wife should say to your kids, hey, I know dad can be a little rough around the edges sometimes, and I know it feels harsh, but he's doing it because he loves you and he wants you to have discipline and he wants us to have structure. And this is why he's created this incredible financial prosperity for us and the beautiful home that we have and all of the blessings that we get to enjoy. Your wife should do that. And you should also be supporting your wife in front of your kids by saying, hey, look, your mom loves you. She cares about you. She wants the best for you. That's why she goes out of her way. That's why I know sometimes maybe it's annoying, but she calls you or texts you more than you want because she loves you and she cares about you and she's checking in because that's her role. Verbal affirmation around those things in front of your children is huge. It's massively huge.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, Grant. Well, actually, there's one thing I want to bring up regarding Travis's question. And let me run this by you. It's a little bit of a segue, but it's related. So back to his question, right? The belief about manhood and what has changed for us. You brought up something we talk about a lot, which is kind of this lone wolf mentality, right? That you can't do it alone. And when you were saying that, Ryan, I immediately thought, we never really do it alone anyway. And maybe an element of lone wolf, like a drawback of the lone wolf mentality, is one, you're not enlisting intentionally people around you. But I can't help but look at the success in my life, and they're always on the backside of an opportunity being presented to me by someone else. Did I really ever do it alone? My business, I did it alone. No. You had customers that chose to believe in you. Oh, no, I earned that job. No. Someone took a risk and gave you an opportunity. So I'm also wondering, like, your thoughts on this is that part of this lone wolf mentality is also the arrogance that you did it alone, when in reality, maybe you never did, right? And maybe the reality is you need to be more open and have some gratitude and understanding that your success is often a result of a relationship or someone else believing in you.
Not often, always.
Always, yeah.
I mean, I can't think of a time where I've succeeded in any aspect of life without having somebody's hand in that success.
Yeah.
And you said it's the arrogance that we as men have. That's exactly right. My mind went to the humility we ought to have, but it's the same. Yeah. We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
When you're at work and you get praise and accolades for hitting that deadline or increasing sales, it feels good and you should celebrate it. But you got to remember, you had, the web guy working on the website and he tweaked some things on the website. And then you had the marketing team put together some really cool graphics for you or some information that you could present to clients. And you got to remember that guy did that. And then you had roads that somebody built as you were driving to your clients, and you had infrastructure, technology that other people built. And then we have freedom that hundreds of thousands of people have died in order for us to have, so we could go sell the thing that we think is important. There's so much to this. There's a great clip every man ought to find. And I think it's Milton Friedman, but he's holding up, I have a pen here, but he's holding up a pencil. Have you seen this clip?
Yes, Kip? Yes, it's so profound.
So incredible. Look it up, guys. It'll change the way you think about life, value proposition, capitalism. But he's holding up this pencil and he says something to the effect, and I'm going to slaughter it, but he's like, most people look at this pencil and they think, it's just a pencil. It's not a big deal. He's like, but imagine this. This came from a tree that a logger went out and sacrificed limb and body in order to cut down that tree and get it to a mill. And then at the mill, there was engineers and people building the equipment that would strip that tree down and shave this. And then it was shaped. And then look, it was painted. Somebody painted that. And what is paint even? Who created paint? And then you look at this little rubber thing on the end of the pencil. We call it an eraser, and it comes from the rubber tree, extracted in only certain aspects of places of the world. People have died in order to get this material so we could make erasers and rub out a little mistake that we made on a piece of paper. It's really fascinating how intertwined everything is and how often we just assume that, well, I'm great. I did it all myself. No, you didn't.
Yeah. All right. Back to Grant. So Grant.
There's one other thing though, Kip, I wanted to say actually. Mm-hmm. So when you asked me about it, so there's a difference, and I've been riffing on this in my mind for the past couple of weeks. There's a difference between solitude and isolation. And that's what men need to understand. Solitude is being able to sit with yourself without needing external sources to validate you, to make you feel better about yourself, to prop you up. And so there's nothing wrong with solitude. We should all be able to be comfortable with ourselves. Isolation is needing that connection, needing bonding, needing accountability, but maybe not even deliberately, but isolating, or pulling yourself out of those environments because of fear or laziness or procrastination or fill in the blank. And I think that's what a lot of guys will do, even in the context of what you just shared, is they'll isolate themselves from the team. Again, maybe it's stroking the ego, or maybe they don't want to get burned. And that's a problem. And I think it's really important we understand the distinction. There's nothing wrong with being willing and able to sit with yourself. And there's also nothing wrong with being able to form deep and meaningful connections in your life.
Yeah, I see that. All right, Grant Grinswig, being lazy or wasting my time. I've been creating content on TikTok and Instagram for 4 years now. It started as a hobby, but my goal has been to turn it into a side hustle. I have found success, 24,000 followers on TikTok, but lately it's become more of a chore, spending 3 hours making a video that only gets a few hundred views. Is this just part of the grind that I need to tough out, or am I putting my time and efforts elsewhere? Appreciate the time.
I would start with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey might say, and ask yourself, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
What is the purpose? If it's just a hobby and you enjoy it, then it really doesn't matter how many views you get or how long it takes or anything like that. It's just a hobby. It's something you enjoy. If it's something that you say, well, no, I'd actually like to start a business. Did he say what the subject was? I may not have caught that.
No.
Okay.
But his TikTok's like track farmer. So probably something with homestead or yeah.
Okay, cool. So maybe at some point you would like to create some revenue from this and turn it into a business. Maybe you have some sort of proprietary information or some patented tool or something that you want to share and sell. And okay, so now it's a business. If it's a business, you have to be more strategic about why it might not be working. For example, if it says track farmer, and you're going to see my ignorance when I talk about this, but I think you guys will get the point. If it takes me a week to, plow an acre long field, there's probably something wrong. Like I don't have the right equipment. I'm not doing it correctly. Maybe the soil's bad. But if I'm spending all of this time trying to get the field ready and I can't even, sow or reap the harvest in a efficient time, then I have to go to the drawing board and ask myself, well, why is this not working? So does it make sense to spend 3 hours on a video for 100 or 200 views? Probably not now. Or excuse me, it makes more sense now as you're building things up than it might in the future, because then you'll start to have some traction and you'll have some leverage. But again, you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of this? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And I would like you to actually answer that question and come back and let me know, because I can give you a better answer. The other factor you need to consider, is this even something that you enjoy? Let's strip away the time it takes. Let's strip away the frustration that it's not growing to the degree that you would like it to. Are you even excited about this? If you are, yeah, keep doing it. And you're going to become more efficient. It's not going to take you 3 hours. Maybe at some point you start to sell something and then you bring somebody in to do your editing. So you're not taking 3 hours now. You're taking 30 minutes recording some content. That's exactly the way it is for me. When I started Order of Man, I was the podcaster like I am now. I was the editor. I was the promoter. I was the uploader. I was everything. Now, granted, technology has come a very far way in 11 years that has made it more efficient, but I hired that out quickly. Chad Robeson does that for us now, and I'm so grateful that he does it because he's good at it and he likes doing it. And I'm not good at it and I don't like doing it. But the only way you get to that point, to go back to capitalism, and I love capitalism, it has such a bad rap, but I love capitalism, is that you have to sell something. You have to make money. Because if you're not making money, then you're always going to be the guy doing the thing. So if there's a blockage there, and there is for people where they just can't get over the hurdle of making money, I hear it all the time. They're like, oh, I'm not an expert and I don't know what to charge and I don't know if people would like this. And shut up. Seriously, just sell something. Well, I don't know what to sell. Okay, you're a smart person. Figure it out. Is it a course? Is it a program? Is it a widget? Is it a piece of technology? Is it coaching? Is it consulting? Here's another one. Is it access to your audience? Maybe John Deere has, and clearly they do, they have farm equipment and they're interested in getting that in front of farmers, ranchers, countrymen. Okay, well, that's your audience. So don't you think that John Deere might be interested in paying you a little bit money to get in front of your audience? That's basically what YouTube is. But you have to make money if you want this thing to continue beyond just it being a hobby. And it is interesting because when you start making money, people will mock you for it. And it's the only, not the only, but it's one of the only times that I see people getting after others for making money. Because what they'll say is, well, I thought you just had a passion for this. I thought you just liked doing this. Well, what does that have to do with making money? Or you're not just doing this out of the goodness of your heart. I hear that one a lot. It's like, well, what do you do for work? And they'll answer, well, I'm a school teacher. Oh, so you love kids? Yeah, I love kids. Oh, so you want to help build the future generations? That's what you're saying? Yeah, I love doing that. Why aren't you doing it out of the goodness of your heart? You cash that paycheck every time it comes in. Why do you get to cash a paycheck for doing something you love, but I don't? So it's really interesting. And you're going to hear some of that when you start doing this. But if you want it to be more than a hobby, then you have to sell something. Bottom line.
I love what you said, referencing Covey, right? The end in mind. And I think with social media, it's one of the many probably examples. And maybe my question to you, Ryan, is like, what other ways do we get distracted where, Grant might find himself, it's like, 24,000 followers. Oh, I'm going to get to 50. I'm going to get to 60. It's 100. And he's lost complete sight of like why he's doing it in the first place. And he's made it about followers. And there's maybe a dopamine hit of like, hey, see, I'm making progress. But he's lost sight of why he's even doing it in the first place. I think this is an example of that showing up in social media. But we do the same thing in the business world all the time. It's like, let's make the strategic move. Let's change this process. And before you know it, we're implementing something for the sake of implementing it. And we have lost sight of what the original intention was. And then we don't make the necessary pivots and adjustments during the process because now it's just about implementing some system because why? Well, it validates and makes me feel good that we implement it, even if it doesn't hit the target.
Right. Yeah, I think the things that you do have to be harmonious. So growing your social media following is not a bad thing in and of itself. You have to do that because that gives you more eyeballs to get your message in front of more people. But if it's just for the number, then it's not harmonizing with everything else. So I'm not interested in having, for example, picking up 10,000 female followers in Indonesia. Like, what is that? I mean, yeah, sure, I've got 10,000 more followers on my account, but what does that have to do with anything regarding the work that we do here? It doesn't. Now, do I want to pick up 10,000 followers inside of the Midwest? Yeah, absolutely. Men in the Midwest between the ages of 25 to about 50? Yeah, absolutely. That's who I want to pick up. Right. And so that actually matters. And that's harmonizing versus just chasing something that doesn't actually impact what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think we intentionally do it. I think it's, if we're not careful, we'll find ourselves chasing something and not realize that it's out of alignment with the objective.
Well, we're incentivized to behave that way on social media, right? Everybody's follower counts are there, and you can see how many likes they have and see how much attention they have and see how many comments they're generating and see how many times it's shared. And then you look at somebody that you admire and respect. You know, for example, I look at Sean Ryan, for example. I really respect and admire Sean for what he's built and what he's doing. And then I look at his follower counts, and he's massive compared to what we're doing here. Okay, like so I'm incentivized to try to chase that, when I'm not real deliberate about the kind of followers that we want or the kind of men we want as part of this organization.
Yeah. Yeah. Will Luna, he has a question, just your general thoughts and feelings about peptides. I think we covered this a couple weeks ago, but maybe we just cover it briefly. Thoughts and feelings.
I mean, I'm not against peptides. You know, there's certain things that the body needs and hormones that we have deficiencies in and opportunities that we have. I think just consult with your medical professional and be smart about it and understand what the risk versus reward is. There's side effects for some of these things, and people say, oh, it's natural. Is it? You're pumping your body.
Still need a needle.
Deliberately. Yeah. Right. Like, is it natural? I know what you're saying when you say that, but our ancestors weren't doing that. And the argument is, well, our ancestors didn't live as long and they weren't as strong and they weren't as effective. Okay. Well, you have to weigh that decision and decide for yourself. So yeah, I would just be careful, you know, and I'm one of those guys who says, you know, why don't you turn to the like natural ways of doing things. And once you have that unlocked, then you can start looking at some of these other things. You know, supplements is the same way. So many people love their supplements. And again, I have nothing wrong with supplements. But if you're fat and out of shape and overweight, you don't go to the gym, you eat like a dump truck or garbage truck, and then what? You're going to take like a protein shake every day and think that that's going to be the thing that's going to turn your health around? No, that's a 10% solution. Like, do the 90%. Go to the gym, eat better, clean up your diet, clean up your exercise, like get active. And then, hey, let's add some more protein so I can build muscle. And then that's where the intentionality comes from. So yeah, I don't have any problem with peptides. I think just use it smartly, understand what you're trying to accomplish, and that's it.
Yeah. There's some wild stuff out there. There's some wild stuff. I know a guy that, a buddy of mine, he was taking a peptide that, for your skin. So then that way, when you're in the sun, you tan better.
Yeah.
And
it makes you darker. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, no way. And he's like, yeah, totally. And he sent me a picture. I was like, is that going to wear off? You look like you're from the Middle East. It was so hilarious.
He got that dark?
He got wicked dark. He had to dial back how much he was taking because he got insanely dark. And I was like,
whoa, that's wild.
So wild.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's probably a line of, you know, you start to get into genetic engineering, which there's some moral conversations we could have around that, especially as it relates to picking out a baby like a Build-A-Bear. You know, you're like, I want to have a kid with blue eyes and I want him to be 6'7" and an offensive lineman for Ohio State. And so let's build him this way. And I'm like, I have some issues with that. But I don't think it's not far off. People are doing that now.
No.
So there's just genetic coding. And, you know, the big thing about Jim Carrey being a clone, I'm like, I don't think we're that far off. I don't think he is, but I don't think we're that far off. I have this idea, it's not my idea, but this thought that at some point we just won't die because I can build a new meat sack, download my brain, put it into the new meat sack, and then the new meat sack won't really know the difference between Ryan that was born in 1981 and Ryan that was born in 2026. And he'll just feel like me, which is so weird to think about.
Yeah. Oh, it's wild. It's wild. All right. What questions did you have, Ryan?
Okay. So I've got some off Instagram. Let me pull it up here.
Okay.
Okay. So what's that?
No, nothing.
Okay. So this one comes from, I don't know. I'm actually not going to say their names because I don't know. I requested questions. And so I had a couple people respond. Anyways. So this one says this. It says, I live in California. Rent is not lower than $2,200 for a 2-bed, 2-bath. I'm a family of 4. I can do it, but is it normal to pay that on a single salary of $6,000 per month? So again, $2,200 rent, $6,000 a month. Is that the quote unquote smart thing to do? I have no debt. Good work on that. And the main goal is to get into a house in the future. Thanks to Order of Man, I've saved $19,000 in cash in the bank, about $40K in the 401k, 38 years old. And little typo, I think here, but I think he's saying, and I'm stuck, bro. Any advice? Thank you, loyal listener of your podcast. I mean, $2,200 on a $6,000 salary for housing is a lot.
Yeah.
And we're not even taking we might be, I don't know the details, but we're probably not taking into consideration utilities, garbage, sewer, water, electrical, internet. So there's other expenses on top of that. Renter's insurance, if you pick up renter's insurance. And so all of a sudden, half of your income, you're up to $3,000, half of your income is now going towards to housing. And that's a bad scenario. I usually, when I was doing financial planning, would recommend 20 to 25%. Now you're saying, hey, we're a family of 4. This is a 2-bedroom place with 2 baths. It would be difficult to live in anything smaller than that for a family of 4, especially depending on your kids' ages. So you might be in this position. When I look at this, I don't think the housing thing is the issue, although housing is insane. I look at the $6,000 a month as the issue. You got to figure out something else to do to make more money because once you start hitting taxes, now all of a sudden it's $5,000 a month. Now your housing is $3,000 and you've got $2,000 left over. You're probably paying $600 to $700 a month for groceries. You've got insurances. You've got different licensing things that you need to do. You've got a couple of date nights per week. And all of a sudden, I mean, the transmission on the car goes out and that $19,000 or whatever you saved is gone, completely gone. I wonder, as I hear this, how did you build $19,000 in cash, and what is your current living situation, right? Because if you're able to build that $19,000 with another 40 in the 401k, well, how'd you do that? If you're paying $2,200, I can't help but think that he's trying to change at this point his living situation, and maybe he's not in the position to do it. I don't know. What comes to mind for you, Kip?
Get out of California.
I mean, but honestly, it's going to be just. I have
you come to Utah.
I have a right. Yeah. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath place. It's 1,400 square feet that I rent out, and it's $2,200 is the rent.
Yeah,
and I'll get that all day long. In fact, we just had some tenants who they just sent a notice to vacate, so they're moving out. I'll have that filled in a week, less than.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's much better anywhere else.
Yeah, your best bet is that cash flow, right? That monthly cash flow comes to mind. It's tough.
Yeah, I don't think that you can skimp your way into financial prosperity. I've even had a conversation with Dave Ramsey on the podcast, and he's like, "Oh, beans and rice, save your money, get out of debt," and all of that is true. Cash flow, all that's good. That's all good. And I said to him, "Hey, Dave, with all due respect, you're telling people this stuff, but that's not how you build wealth."
Yeah.
I said, "You built your wealth in business and real estate, and you're not telling people to do that. You're saying put a little bit of money into mutual funds." And he's like, "Hey, you know what, Ryan? Fair question." To his credit, he was like, "Hey, that's a fair question." He's like, "I know who my audience is." And his audience is people who are making $6,000 a month and paying $2,200 a month in rent. what I want to see for this person is I want to see them making 8,000 a month, 10,000 a month, 15,000 a month. And so I would focus on do what you need to do for housing, but in the meantime, start building up some skills, start networking, look for extra things you could do around work to make yourself valuable and get noticed and get that promotion. Maybe there's a little side hustle. Maybe you're a great builder and you know how to build bookshelves. Cool. Sell bookshelves on the weekend to neighbors. Maybe you know photography really well. And so great. Invite a couple people over on the week. Do it once a month. Invite people over, charge, I don't know, $250 to $500 a pop, have 10 people there. All of a sudden that's $5,000 that you're making. Like, there's things that you can do if you get a little creative. It was funny because I was driving back from the grocery store the other day with my youngest son, and I don't know why he said this. It was kind of funny. He's like, "Dad, I hate couponers." And I was like, "What? Where did that come from?" He's like, "I just don't understand why you're gonna spend a bunch of time and energy cutting out coupons. Can't you just," what did he say? He's like, "It just takes too long, and can't you just buy it and not worry about it?" It was something like that. He was trying to connect the dots a little.
Yeah.
And I don't have anything against couponers. If you like couponing and you want to save a few pennies, do it. If it's fun for you, or fine, nothing wrong with that. But why are you focused on skimping when you should be focused on abundance? What if instead of couponing, you said, "I'm going to take a course and I'm going to learn how to do a real skill that will actually generate revenue for me. And then the 5 cents that you're going to save on X, Y, and Z is irrelevant because you're making 25 cents for every increment of time it took you to save 5."
Yeah.
So I think that's what he should focus on. How do we get that to $8,000?
Yeah.
And then the rent becomes a non-issue.
I see it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I got another couple of questions here. Let's go to this one. This one is a little tricky. I didn't quite understand this question. Maybe you do. He says, "How do I build a network of specialized trades to build a construction business?" So what I think he's wanting to do is build a network of subcontractors that he has access to so he can build his own general contracting business. That's what I think he's asking.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, first and foremost, I would go to industry events. There's probably a lot of stuff locally where you can go to industry events and meet people and connect with people. Maybe there's trade shows you can connect with and start to learn how to be a networker in this department. The other thing I would do is I would put together I would do this 100%. And I don't know if contractors do this or not. I would put together a weekly meeting where we get all contractors together, and I'll give you some nuance on this, where you facilitate subcontractors getting together and helping each other out. And you're the only general contractor there because you started it. So get all your tile guys, get all your drywall guys, get all your plumbers, get all your mechanics, get all your roofers, get all your electricians, get everybody together and just say, "Hey guys, we meet once a week. Our sole purpose here is to network. It's to meet each other. It's to teach each other certain techniques or marketing ideas. It's to trade business back and forth." And you know what will happen is, Kip, if I'm a tile guy and you're a tile guy, maybe you're slammed, but you know me really well and you feel happy with the quality of work I do. And you're like, "Hey, Rye, I've got this job. It's not a big job, but I've got a job. And it'll take you and a crew a couple of days to get done. I don't have the capacity to do it. Do you want to do it?" Hell yeah. If I'm new or struggling or I don't have time, yeah, I'll do that. This kind of stuff happens all the time. And if you can facilitate that by creating a group to get these guys together on a very consistent basis, man, and you're the contractor there that they all know, I think that's a no. That'll take a lot of work. I'm not saying that. It'll take a lot of work, a lot of diligence, a lot of intentionality, but I think you could put together a really rad trade organization in your local community.
Totally.
That's what I would do.
Once you reach out to one, they already have the better connections than you have too. So I think there'd be some growing momentum, right? Once you get the framers, one framer, it's like, "Hey, who's your top drywall guys that you interact with from time to time? Oh, it's these guys. And then all of a sudden this becomes an easier slam dunk once you line up a couple.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, that's any other thoughts? That's how I would do it. But any other thoughts that you have?
The other thought I would have is, I mean, you know, people who have built homes, and so literally ask your neighborhood or ask your friends, you know, that it's like, hey, who's your primary HVAC guy that you guys have used? I mean, that's how we find half our trades that we ever use. It's word of mouth from the people in our community. So ask them. And who was the great guy, and there's your connection. You don't even have to hop online and do some research. Just maybe start from there.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Let's say that you do that and you get a great, framer, for example, and this gentleman wants to call that framer. What does he do? What does he say? Like, where does he go? Because I hear this question a lot. It's like, well, I have these contacts, but I don't know what to do with it. Like, what's the next step? It's kind of like when a dog catches, let's say a dog's chasing a chicken in the backyard and loves just chasing the chicken around. And then one day it catches the chicken and it's like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I would ask.
Yeah, I would get excited about whatever it is that you're doing. So if it's like what you said, Ryan, you're like, hey, I'm getting a network of trades together. Well, why? I see this amazing opportunity in the state of Utah where in the trades we can band together and level up by which we build homes and disrupt the industry with on time, on budget, quality service. I'm looking to get connected with top tier trades, bringing them together so we can network and help each other perform and get more business. I don't know, something like that. I mean, most people hearing that, it's like no cost to me. I just show up. Yeah. I mean, what am I out? Absolutely. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. I even think you could create some exclusivity around this where you could say, hey, we allow 3 subcontractors per trade. So there's only 3 roofers in this chapter. There's only 3 tile guys. There's only 3 electricians. There's only 3 this. There's only 3 that. And through our selection process, we're bringing the best on. And there's requirements that you have to meet. And if you don't meet those, your seat is opened up to a new electrician. Yeah. So you create some of that exclusivity around it. Man, I think that could be huge as well. The other thing too is you have to make sure, I saw this a lot when I was doing financial planning. I'm glad he brought this question up and we're riffing on it because when I was doing financial planning, part of my marketing strategy was to go work with CPAs and attorneys and other financial professionals, home and auto insurance. That's how I met Matt Jenkins, home and auto insurance, where they were doing business with my prospects, right? The clients that I wanted to visit with. But they didn't offer life insurance or disability insurance or investments or annuities or retirement accounts. And so I would go meet with attorneys every week. I'd meet with new attorneys, estate planning attorneys. I'd meet with CPAs. I'd meet with home and auto insurance guys. And I would build relationships with these guys with the anticipation that they would refer business to me as they got comfortable with me and my services. But also the opposite is also true. I saw a lot of guys just take advantage of that, but never reciprocate. It's like, if I have a CPA and I'm sending business to a CPA, because I don't do that with my clients, and that CPA never refers business to me, that guy's out.
Yeah.
You're out. Like, cool situation for you, but like any good relationship, this has to be reciprocal. So you better make sure if you're bringing these don't bring everybody in, because all of a sudden, if you want them to give you work, you should be giving them work too. And you might have to spread the love a little bit, but you got to reciprocate. So make sure you're doing that or make connections. And there's a great organization called BNI. If you want to look at a good model for how this might work specifically in the trades, BNI would be a Business Network International would be a great resource for you.
Yeah. And if there's not one, make one. Call it something else,
yeah.
BMI, whatever, and set it up.
All right, so this one comes from Dustin Hale. He says, Ryan, I'm 41. I'm a bit overweight. My marriage has been struggling, and I know that my drinking is getting out of hand. I spent a lot of time doom scrolling. I haven't been real productive, and I keep telling myself that I'll start Monday. That's what he said, quote unquote, start Monday, but that never happens. So at what point do I need to stop blaming my circumstances, admit there's a problem, and then how do I go about finally getting started? That's a good question. You want to start on that one, Kip? You got some ideas?
Yeah. And this is a little bit in that, well, there's two things that come to mind. First, I heard this study a couple months ago that this idea of motivation preceding action is not true. It's not true. Motivation shows up once you show up at the gym and you start taking action. It shows up when you stop drinking. That's when you get the reward, right? Of dopamine, of excitement.
Good
Not
point.
before. So let go of that idea that like, oh, I don't feel like it. Well, guess what? You never are until you start taking action. And then the second thing that comes to mind is there's no tomorrow. Show me tomorrow. Where's it at? Point at it. Oh, got it. It's a word that represents something that does not exist. You don't have tomorrow. You have right now. That's all you have. So what are you going to do right now? Stop worrying about like someday and when things align. No, just win today. You know, I can't help. Is it Mark? Who wrote the book? We read it in the Iron Council years ago. Own the day or one day.
Yeah, but Marcus, Aubrey Marcus.
Aubrey Marcus, right? It's like just win today. Stop like let go of all this other weight and all this stuff. Just win today. And before you know it, you're going to start stacking those, and you're going to start seeing success. But let go of the someday mentality. You know, it's like tomorrow or the 8th day of the week. No, you don't have that. That's not guaranteed for you. It's not guaranteed for anybody in your life. And then, sorry, I'm riffing a little too much. And then the last thing, just get present on the impact. The way I see this is most of us make major changes in our lives because the world forces us to change, right? Like a death of a loved one, you get divorced, you know, something critical happens to you that causes you to make adjustments. Don't wait for that. And the way that you take action now is by getting present to the cost. What's the cost right now? What's the cost of you not going to the gym? What's the cost of you not eating well? What's the cost right now? And trust me, the cost and the impact is far greater than you realize. And if you're a parent, you don't have to go far to get motivated, right? Just think, man, are my eating habits modeling the behavior for my children? If my kids are overweight, how much is that because I am overweight and I've created that reality for them? And what's the chances of little Timmy being bullied at school for being fat? Is that his fault or mine? That's my fault. You did that. You created that for him. Like, man, get present to the impact that you're leaving on the world.
Yeah, I agree. You know, on a tactical level, I would just say also just start small, right? Like just start small. You know, when you're talking about, let me pull up the question again.
Yeah, it's almost like all this stuff he has to do. It's like this weight. Yeah.
And then also just have rules in place, right? So for example, he talks about doom scrolling on his phone. Okay, we'll have a rule. And your rule is I get 30 minutes. That's it. It's a self-imposed rule. It's like I can look up, there's nothing wrong with looking at your phone, catching up with people, seeing what people are up to. But after about 30 minutes, it becomes significantly less productive. So it's like the law of diminishing return. The longer you're on there, the worse it is for you. So maybe you have that rule. Drinking, you know, instead of drinking every night, maybe you say, hey, I'm allowed to drink on Wednesday to kind of calm down or whatever. And on the weekend, or I'm allowed one drink or whatever your thing is. I don't know what it is for you.
Or I have to go for a walk for 2 miles before I can drink. That's the rule. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a self-imposed rule, and it doesn't matter how you feel about it. You just made a commitment to that rule. And yeah, I think if you put those rules in place, you'll find it's a lot. It's not very hard to start moving in the right direction if you have those rules.
Yeah.
And then you get your family enlisted in that. Like your wife's going to be excited that you have these rules in place and you're following them. Your kids are going to see a big difference in you. So, yeah. All right. So speaking of wife, here's another great question. This one could go really well or really poorly. Tyson Green says, if a man is the primary provider, is it unreasonable for him to expect a certain level of respect and cooperation from his wife? What do you think? Or do you want me to go first on this one? You're like, you go first.
No, I feel it. Is it reasonable to expect? Sure, you can expect, but I mean, that's also a very dangerous place to operate, right? You can ask. You could say, hey, this would be really nice. I would appreciate this. This is what it means to me. And you can request, but be very careful in this space of like, well, I expect, or it should be this way. It's like, well, deal in reality, right? You're obviously not getting it. So you can ask, and maybe you should ask what else you should do or you need to do to get a level of respect. And then you do that.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw this question, so it says, is it unreasonable for him to expect a certain level of respect? No, I don't think that's unreasonable. The first part of the question is, if he's the primary provider, I don't even think you need that premise. I think it's completely reasonable that your wife respect and cooperate with you. Why would she be your wife if that wasn't the case? And by the way, that goes true the other way. Just because she's not the primary provider doesn't mean that you don't have to show her respect or cooperation. Yeah. So the premise is a little wonky, I would say, but I agree with you. It's not unreasonable, but you know what is unreasonable? To expect something without communicating it to her.
Well said.
That's unreasonable. Yeah. So you should go talk with her and say, hey, babe. And it's not because you're the primary provider. It's because you're her husband. That's the answer. Not because of the money that you make. Because what happens if you get fired or laid off?
She doesn't have to no longer have to respect you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're her husband. Yes. I don't want to say is required. She's not required to. But when you guys entered that agreement, it was not only unspoken, but it was documented that you guys would both cooperate and respect each other. The vows you took state that pretty clearly. Yeah. So what I would suggest is, if you're not getting the level of respect that you deserve, and this goes back to what you were saying, Kip, is, sit down with her, talk with her, say, hey, babe, I'm feeling disconnected lately. I'm feeling a little bit disrespected. And this is how it's showing up, and this is how I feel when it happens. And here's what I'd like to do for both of us to be more respectful with the words that we use to each other, with the way that we parent, to go back to a question that we had earlier. Hey, I don't feel like you respect when I discipline the children. Well, what's up with that? Can we talk about that? Can we figure that out and get on the same page? And these kind of conversations need to take place frequently, very soon, as soon as they come up. And I think a lot of that respect stuff starts to work itself out when you start talking about it.
Yeah. One way I like to look at this is, do you think that she wants to be with someone that she wants to respect?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
She wants to want to respect you. Just like you want to be with someone that you express love and appreciation to. So you both want the same thing. The question is why aren't you doing it? Where's the gap? Where's the misunderstanding? Right. What's the issue? And let's address it. But mark my word, most women want to be with a man that they respect. Absolutely. So it's your job to figure out why.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Yeah. Here's another one. Along the lines of what we have a lot of questions about wives on this one. So here's one from Aaron Bishop. He says, what's the hardest truth men don't want to hear about why their wives lose attraction to them? And I think this kind of ties into the last one, but I know the answer. I unequivocally know the answer.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think every woman would agree with this. At least in the top 3 reasons. Probably the top one. They no longer feel safe.
AKA now, don't respect you.
That it could manifest in a lot of different ways. So
like you're adding stress to their life or whatever. Yeah.
That's part of it. If you're employment situation is, sketchy at best, that's not safe. She can't build a house on that because she's like, I don't know when money's coming in, when it's not coming in. I'm scared, I'm confused, I'm worried. Or if she thinks you're cheating on her, that's not safe, right? Or if you're volatile, you come home late at night, and she doesn't know if she's getting the good version or the bad version, then she shuts down and she's like, I don't know which version I'm getting. I don't want to do this at all. And so she backs up completely. So when a woman feels unsafe, that's when she loses attraction for you. And I think it has less to do with, you put on a little weight. I see a lot of guys who are overweight and they're with very attractive women. So I'm like, well, what's going on with that? It's this, to me, based on what I've heard and what I've seen and the conversations I've had and the research I've done, it has to do with their level of safety. And volatility is the destroyer of attraction. Financial volatility, emotional volatility, physical volatility, anytime it's volatile, it just eats away at that attraction more than anything else. Would you agree with that? Or do you think there's other factors at play here?
I wasn't going there, but the minute you said it and as you've explained it, I totally agree. And I think it's a snowball too, right? Because like not only does attraction go down, but in those instances, she's stepping a little more into her masculine because of the uncertainty. And then she's more combative with you, which causes you to feel like she doesn't respect you even more so. And it just gets more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're spot on.
It's as simple as that. So, you know what I would do this was from Aaron. What I would tell Aaron to do is I would go sit down with my wife and I would say, hey, babe, I really want to talk about the relationship. And don't just say that because then she's going to jump. That's volatile. She's going to jump to worst case. Say, hey, I really want to talk about the relationship, but specifically how, like what the ways that I can show up to make you feel better about the relationship, how we grow, how we get better, how we improve, and talk about it in a forward-leaning perspective because then she'll be more optimistic versus pessimistic.
Yeah.
And so you sit down with her and say, I have one question I want to start with. In what ways am I showing up where I'm volatile? Meaning you don't know what you're getting and it creates doubt, confusion, and uncertainty from you. And she might be like, what do you mean? If you never had this conversation, she might be like, what do you mean? Well, you might say, well, is it finances where you never know what the finances are and that worries you and scares you? Is it when I get frustrated and maybe I get a little short or angry? Does that scare you or does that have you concerned? And you just prompt a little bit and then let her talk, let her go, and write it all down. Say, okay, I'm volatile with this. I'm volatile with this. I'm volatile with this, and just figure out ways to be more emotionally stable because that's going to go such a huge way.
Don't explain anything either, right? So if she goes, well, it's when you get upset, don't go, well, yeah, but I get upset because of like, don't do any of that, right? Just like listen, write it down, and then figure out and process it later, in regards to what changes you need to make. Yeah.
What's interesting is as I've dated over the past 3 years, one interesting thing has come up over and over again. And it might be something simple. Like I said, I would do something, maybe book a trip or pick something up or, whatever, like do something and that I agreed to do or said that I would do. And that I follow through on it. And the woman that I happened to be dating at the time would say, oh, wait, you did that thing? I'm like, well, yeah, I said I would do it. And then you should see the look on her face. It's like, oh, well, I mean, okay. And she's ecstatic because what does that tell you? That tells you she's been around men who don't do that. And it's not common.
Yeah.
That is the quickest way to build attraction with your wife or with somebody you're dating is just to do what you say you're going to do. And it's not that the bar is so low, guys, so low. But also the opposite is true. If that builds attraction, not following through on what you say you're going to do kills attraction. Again, that's the volatility. She doesn't know if you're reliable. That's not safe.
Yeah, it's a form of trust, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Let me ask you this question really quick, because we were talking about motivation earlier. I wanted to get your thoughts on, I'm a huge fan of Gary John Bishop. And he made this post the other day, and I'm like, man, I love this, but I want to get your thoughts. He said, motivation is what we seek when we're already cashed in the integrity.
Motivation is what we seek when we've already cashed in the integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Isn't
It's
that
like,
cool?
did you say you were going to do it? And that's the only reason you do it.
Yeah. And then when I'm like, well, I don't feel motivated, it's because it's not about doing what I said I would do. It's not about honoring my commitment. It's not about integrity. Now it's about if I feel like it.
Yeah, I think that is really good. I think that I don't have anything wrong with motivation. I like
it's
being
not like
motivated.
this bad thing. Yeah.
Right. I like watching movies that motivate me to behave better. I like listening to music that inspires me or pumps me up. I like being around people who are positive and energetic because it makes me want to be those things.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's an inferior mode of, I don't want to say motivation, but it's an inferior mode of, what's the word? I can't even think of the word.
Inferior driver.
Drive?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. A better one is because I said I would.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where if somebody's like, oh, you did that thing, you're confused because you're like, yeah, what do you mean? What's confusing about that? And you should be confused if somebody's surprised that you did something because you're the kind of man who's like, I don't know what the big deal is. Like I said I would do it and therefore I did it, Or if you don't do it and you forget, that's okay. It happens. Make up for it. Fix it quickly.
Yeah. I've always thought this was interesting because, it's like motivation, the pendulum is motivation, discipline. And even in the example that you gave, right? It's like, well, if I don't have motivation, then sometimes it's just, doing it because I said I would, which I think is really just a move of the reasoning to something else, right? It's like the motivation is now the motivation to be a man of integrity. The focus is just different.
Sure.
Right? It's like, I'm doing this because it excites me. No. I'm doing this because what it means about me. And because I've gotten present to what it means about me, now I'm driven to action. So it's just a pivot of focus more than it is motivation or not motivation. I don't know. It's just my version of it. I was thinking about this, I don't know, a couple months ago. But I think it's all kind of forms of motivation. It's just where is it coming from?
Well, and I think you're right. I would say it's internal versus external motivation. Yeah. So external motivation is fleeting. Like you would probably nobody would ever say this, but they probably operate this way is, well, I'm doing it to get something from somebody else, right? Like my motivation, the reason I'm doing this thing for my wife is that so I can get laid tonight.
Yeah. Or I'll do this because if I don't, Ryan might call me out. So you know what I mean? I don't want to not do it. Yeah.
And the thing is, you can't control all of that, right? So like even getting laid, like doing something for somebody, your wife, because you're going to get lucky tonight, she may not be in the mood or she may be on her period or she may just be pissed or like whatever. Yeah. And so all of a sudden you synced your effort with some external motivation that will never come. And then what the danger in that is that we stop doing the things that we should be doing because we don't always get the outcome we desire. But ironically, if you just follow through on your commitments, then you're going to get more of what you want, even though that's not your primary motivating factor for doing it. So if you just show up powerfully, not to get laid, but just show up powerfully in your relationship because that's the kind of man you want to be, that's what a good man does. That's what a husband does. You will get laid more often than the guy who's doing whatever he's doing just to get laid.
Yeah.
It's wild, but it's true.
Totally.
Do it for the right reason. The reason you're doing it is just as important as what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Another way that you can get laid more is joining us in the Iron Council. Guaranteed.
Well, stop. Hold on. Stop. I'm going to just stop you right there. We're not going to do that. You're going to you're going to change the way that you're saying that because it makes it
that
sound
is
like
true.
if you join
Order a
if
man.
you join the so maybe you could change the phrasing or something that sounds like you're not going to get laid in the Iron Council. It's an exclusive men's program, but it will help you get more
Outside of
wife.
the Iron Council.
Yes, yes. I just want to clarify.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, we got that preview call. How's that? We got the preview call
there you
tonight. So if you guys are listening to this,
Yes.
join the preview call. Right, I forgot. So it's orderman.com, or no, it's ironcouncil.com/preview.
theironcouncil.com/preview. theironcouncil.com/preview.
That's open to anybody. So you write down that URL, hop on, join the Zoom call, learn more about the Iron Council, what it's all about.
That's right.
And we'll address
Yep.
those. Okay.
That's right. So guys, we'd love to see you on that call. Again, theironcouncil.com/preview tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Pulling back the curtain, letting you meet some of the guys, letting you know a little bit about what we do inside the Iron Council, and I would love to see you there. I think that's it. We'll be back on Friday for our Friday field notes. Until then, guys, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.